Lots of people have an odd feature or two. After all, it's part of what makes human beings unique. Do you have any odd features? Have you ever been teased because of it? Let me know in the comments below. But first, take a look at the most unusual people with the longest features. Many of them have been verified by the Guinness Book of World Records, and all of them you have to see to believe. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for y'all that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works. World's longest fingernails. Fingernails are one of the most beautiful features of the human body. Women tend to grow their nails in order to make them look more beautiful and charming. But some women have taken this activity to the next level. After growing her fingernails for more than 20 years, Ayana Williams has earned herself the Guinness World Record for having a pair of the longest fingernails in the world. Ayana is a nail artist from Houston, Texas, and has a total nail length of 18 feet and 10.9 inches. That's impressive, I guess. But wait until you hear that it takes Ayana nearly a week to paint them. Can you imagine? However, that's not a problem for Ayana. She takes great pride in her nails and keeps growing them till this day. No matter what you think about her, you've got to admire her dedication. Stretchiest skin in the world. Gary Turner from the UK is the closest thing to the real-life rubber man. What do I mean? You see, Gary suffers from a serious form of a rare genetic disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This condition affects the amount of collagen, which controls how much skin stretches, and, in Gary's case, it stretches a lot, and I mean a lot. Despite the fact that his condition causes him pain in certain joints, his smile never goes away. Gary has even acquired the title of the man with the most elastic skin on the planet, managing to stretch the skin of his stomach up to 6.25 inches. Can you imagine? His title was granted at the beginning of 2000, and to this date, there hasn't been anyone who managed to surpass him. World's longest eyelashes. A 52-year-old woman from Shanghai, China, by the name of Yu Zhenxi, is the proud owner of a rather unusual Guinness World Record. You see, this woman has the longest eyelashes in the world, measuring in at an incredible 4.88 inches. She broke the previous record set by Gillian Cremonesi from Canada, whose eyelashes measured in at 3.17 inches. Since Zhenxi set the record back in 2016, chances are that her eyelashes have grown even longer. She first noticed her eyelashes growing during an 18-month nature retreat that she embarked on back in 2013, which is why she attributes the growth of her eyelashes to being one with nature. So how does a person take care of such long eyelashes anyway? Well, you don't really need any special technique for that. This woman just cleans them when she washes her face, and they don't cause any inconvenience whatsoever. Biggest nose ever. Pinocchio may have the longest nose in children's stories, but the longest nose in real life belongs to Mehmet Ajirek from Turkey, who was born on October 17, 1949. His enormous nose measures an astonishing 8.8 centimeters, or 3.46 inches, from the bridge to the tip. Wow, he must really have a great sense of smell, which, depending on the smell, could be a good or really bad thing. Imagine catching a cold if your nose was 3.45 inches long. Anyway, Mehmet's nose was measured live on the set of Lo Show del Record in Rome, Italy, on the 18th of March 2010. However, Mehmet's nose might not be the longest nose ever, because there are reports from the 18th century saying that an English circus star, Thomas Wetters, had a nose allegedly measuring 19 centimeters, or 7.5 inches. World's tallest man. Born in 1982 in Turkey, Sultan Kosan is currently the tallest man in the world, standing at 8 foot and 3 inches. Wow, impressive. Sultan actually had a normal childhood until the age of 10, at which point he rocketed over 6 feet tall. His growth was caused by a tumor in his brain. In 2010, doctors attempted to remove the tumor by focusing radiation at it, and amazingly, it worked. As of 2012, Sultan has officially stopped growing, but nobody seems to be taller than him yet. And if you were wondering, yes, Sultan was offered a career in basketball, although having a delicate physique made this sport impossible for him. Longest fingernails on a single hand. A man from the city of Pune in India named Shindar Shilal, I butchered that, appeared in the 2016 edition of the Guinness World Records as the proud owner of a quite sensational record, having the world's longest fingernails on a single hand ever. His nails have a combined length of, get this, 358.1 inches, with the longest single nail being his thumbnail, measuring 77.87 inches. Wow, with nails this long, you simply have to wonder how he's ever, cut his nails. Well, wonder no more, because this 82-year-old had been growing his nails since 1952. Yeah, 1952. Let that sink in for a second. He decided to grow his nails at 14 years of age after being told off by a teacher for accidentally breaking his long nail. As you can imagine, Mr. Shalal faced a number of difficulties because of his fingernails, including disfigurement of his fingers and loss of function in his left hand. That's why eventually he decided to cut them. His nails are now on display at the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in New York City. Wow, you've got to admit, that's quite an accomplishment. Imagine your fingernails being on display in a museum. The world's longest tongue. Nick Stoberl of Monterey, California looks like a pretty ordinary guy, but just wait till he opens his mouth, because there's a giant tongue inside. And when I say giant, I mean giant. In fact, our boy Nick here holds the Guinness World Record for the world's longest tongue. Nick said that his dad was a huge fan of the rock band Kiss, and that he would imitate the famous tongue-wagging pose of the band's bassist Gene Simmons as a kid, which is when he first realized that his tongue was quite a bit longer than most. In fact, his tongue measures an unbelievable 3.97 inches from tip to the closest lip. He tried to make the most of his gift, saying it would be a shame not to use it. So he started painting with his tongue. Yep, I'm not kidding. This guy actually dips his tongue in acrylic and licks the canvas until an artwork appears, as he demonstrated on Steve Harvey's talk show. Wow, what a guy! Tallest family on Earth. When you think of tall people, I bet South Sudan isn't the first country that comes to your mind, but this video is about to change that. These people are so tall that an average person has a hard time touching the top of their heads. The majority of the country's 13 million people belong to the Dinka tribe, who inhabit the banks of the Nile and have some of the most stunning physical features you'll ever see. They are extremely slim and tall, almost all of them, with both men and women averaging well over 6 feet tall. I mean, look at them. It's like you're in an NBA locker room. Speaking of the NBA, the tallest NBA player in history is a guy named Manute Bol, standing at 7 feet 7 inches. And yeah, you guessed it, he was from South Sudan. Macy Curran. Seeing this girl in all her glory will totally change your perception of what it means to have long legs. Meet Macy Curran, ladies and gentlemen, a 16-year-old teenager from Texas whose legs are so long they are already 53 inches long. Wow, that's incredible, but it wasn't always like that. You'll definitely find it hard to believe looking at her now, but when Macy was born, she was actually a lot smaller than other babies. But over the years, she grew up beyond belief, reaching 5 feet 7 inches by the time she was 9. Now at 6 feet 9 inches, this situation is a problem for her because she has to stoop to avoid banging her head when walking through doors. And if that wasn't enough, she is also having a hard time finding clothing in her size. But despite all the difficulties, Macy is proud of having the world's longest legs. Adrienne Lewis. Adrienne's tongue is so long that she can touch her nose, her elbow, the point of her chin, and even her eye with it. Can you imagine? In fact, Adrienne believes she has the longest tongue in the world, claiming that it measures 4 inches long when it's fully stretched down. Her tongue hasn't yet been officially measured by the Guinness World Records, but she has hopes it's a winner. As we already mentioned earlier, the current record holder is Nick Stoberl's 3.9-inch long tongue. Meanwhile, Adrienne has decided to make the most of her unusual asset and now showcases her tongue-twisting abilities on her YouTube channel. Which one of these long body features have fascinated you the most? Let me know in the comments below.